Once again, happy Friday. It is a happy day because I know everyone is still waking up because they stayed up to watch the Caps game.
That's right.
I didn't because I went to bed at 8:30, so I missed it. But today we're talking about men's health, about how to stay fit and stay active. So I have Green Spring resident Jim Hughes, and then I have wellness manager Brad Hibbs. How are y'all today?
Good.
Hope you're awake and didn't stay up too late.
Well, I stayed up late, but it was a wonderful game. Wow.
Well, I'll take your word from it. You know, Diane went as well, and she said the same thing.
Yeah, and she had that hat on, too.
Yeah, she got that mysterious hat, you know.
Yeah,
I would like a hat, too. But today we're talking about men's health, and I want to encourage the men not to think just because, you know, I'm older that I can't be healthy, that it's too late. No matter what age you're at, you can always be healthy, and you can always be active. So the first section we were going to touch upon is about staying physically fit and staying physically active. So Brad, I'm going to let you talk a little bit since you're the wellness manager.
Sure.
So tell me about kind of like the fitness programs that are here to provide for the residents to stay active and healthy.
Yeah, and as you just said, Avan, there's something for everyone. That's what I have preached since the day I started here almost, a little over 18 years ago.
Wow.
There's something for everyone. We have a wide range of Group X classes, that's water classes, that's land classes, wide range. We offer over 100 classes per month. We encourage folks to give that a try. The fitness center, we average over about 3,000 visits a month. But the fitness center is another great place where there's cardio machines, there's resistance machines, there's bands, there's balls, there's dumbbells, etc. And then of course there's the aquatic center as well. And again, we have group water classes. But in addition to that, even if you decide, hey, classes aren't for me, water walking, doing your own exercises in the water, huge. But there are a ton of opportunities, not only under the wellness umbrella, but there are a lot of resident-driven activities here on campus that keep us moving and fit. But again, there's something for everyone. And if you're not sure what that something might be, come down and see us. We'll be happy to provide you with some opportunities and options.
Okay, so when we were first planning this show, you brought up the bringing on the resident right here, Jim Hughes. Can you kind of introduce him, and why did you want to bring him on to discuss men's health?
Well, that's very easy. Jim, one, is a great guy. I've enjoyed, not only do I observe him working out, but he and I worked out together for quite some time when I was working out in the afternoons. But Jim works out at least, 6 days a week?
7.
Now it's, okay, so, excuse me, it's 7 days a week. I'm not here on the weekends, so I don't see him on the weekends, but 7 days a week he's working out. He's also very active with the dancing here at Green Spring on Friday nights and other fitness opportunities. But I looked at Jim and said, you know, he's somebody that is finishing strong. He's going to continue to do the things that he likes to do, stay active, stay healthy, continue doing other activities he wants to do because he is healthy and he is able. Whether it's trips, whatever he might want to do, he's in, as you can see, he's in great shape. But it takes work, takes discipline. But I think Jim is a model of, you know, for those that want to stay healthy and fit. You look at somebody like Jim, he's a poster child for fitness.
So Jim, the poster child.
Yes, sir.
So why don't you discuss your kind of what you do to stay active and what you do to stay healthy, and why is it important to you?
Well, maybe just to begin at the very beginning, my sister lived here for 15 years. And before she came, she had a walker, a cane, and so forth. And when she started to live here, she became involved in the fitness center to the point where she no longer needed the walker or the cane. So before I moved in here, I was ready to go to the fitness center. So I was all set, and I have just found it a wonderful place to, you know, continue to be active, continue to work out, and it's been a real benefit for me. For example, I don't think I've had a cold in maybe the last 4 or 5 years here, and I feel that that's because of the active lifestyle and the fitness center. Yeah.
So your sister inspired you.
Yes, she did.
So you got involved as well. You know, it's kind of funny that you said that. I have 2 brothers, and so my older brother, when I started changing my health habits, my older brother's always been in the gym. So he was kind of an inspiration, but my little brother, as much weight as I've lost, my little brother, he lost over 120 pounds himself.
Wow.
So I was like, I can't have my little brother outdo me. Like, you know, I can't have him outdo me. So, you know, he inspired me to, you know, put forth effort in, getting my health habits together. And before I started, going to the gym and working out and being active, I legit did nothing. I did nothing at all. The most walking as a joke I read all the time is my exercise was, I don't walk for exercise, I walk with the Lord. There's my exercise.
Okay.
So I always enjoyed that joke. That was me. And so, Jim, I'm curious so you can tell the residents, what is your kind of gym exercise schedule? And what I mean by that is, like, I have a schedule I keep for myself every week. At least 2 to 3 times a week. I get up at 3:30 in the morning and I go for a nice jog for about 30-40 minutes at the gym.
Wow.
And then after work, I go in for my pad work for boxing. I go after that to CrossFit. And then 2 of those days I go in for sparring. So I have like a set schedule that I stick to. Can you kind of discuss what your set schedule is and how important it is to stay on that schedule?
Well, my set schedule begins early in the morning because I start to do 2 sets of push-ups, 25 each. So I do 50 push-ups in the morning. Lots of stretching and sort of getting my body really ready for the day. Then I come into the fitness center, and I guess I'm there just about maybe 50 minutes. But I do all the machines. But first I start again with push-ups, and I do 2 sets of 25. So I do 50. With the dumbbells, I do 100 with the 10-pounder, and again on the floor with stretches and so forth. And then I go around to all the machines and work out for there, and then finish up with the rowing machine. I do that every day.
What's the max you've gotten on the rowing machine? Like, how far have you gone?
I'd have to really think about that for a minute, but I love that rowing machine because I can daydream.
Okay.
as I'm doing that.
Now, I've done the row machine in our CrossFit classes, and maybe about 2 weeks ago, we had a test that we do where you have to do a 5,000 meter on the rowing machine, and you have to try to do it within 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I was only shy by 30 seconds.
Wow.
I was
Whoa.
so frustrated. I was like, I was so close, but
Wow.
me and the rowing machine have a love-hate relationship. but that's really good, Jim, that you stick to a schedule.
Yep.
All the time, and you push yourself. Now, you didn't start off doing 25 push-ups, right? Or
No.
you build up to that.
That's you have to build up to it. Oh yeah. No, it took time. That's for sure.
Now, Brad, we do have some residents who might have some physical limitations and stuff like that. What can they do? What's available for them that they can both, still be mobile as best they can and still be safe? What kind of advice you would give for that person?
Well, I would encourage anyone to come down to talk to us, and we could again tell you what are some of the options. What are some of your limitations? What are some of the contraindications? Things that we have to work around. But whether that's personal training, whether that's a chair fit class where you can stay in your EMV or your wheelchair, or a more active class. But we have different classes for different abilities, skill levels, etc. But we have a fit, I think, for almost everyone, whether you've suffered a stroke, whether you've had a heart attack, whether you've lost a limb. We have folks that are working, we'll modify your workout routine in the gym, or we'll say, hey, this is something you can do in the water. Or here's a class that might work for you. But we're always trying different things, saying, what can you do? But I'll tell you what, Avan, there's something, over the years, there's rarely been anyone that can't do something.
Okay.
And then maybe it's their limited shoulder issues, back issues. Well, we can do things. It might be bands, it might be lighter weight, it might be not something as rigorous, but there's something for everyone. And we'd be happy to guide them through that as we've done over the years. We have trained staff, very capable team that can evaluate and then say, hey, let's do this, let's do that, let's try that.
Okay, and so my next question is kind of what you're saying about evaluating. And I'm gonna just say this, I'm the youngest of us 3 sitting here, and so I'm in my prime of I can physically do a lot.
Yeah.
I can lift heavy weights. I don't have to worry too much about injuries and stuff like that. Can you kind of discuss maybe from your own experiences in health, the changes you've seen and kind of what to be aware of as you do age and get older, and kind of some safety precautions. Because I remember for a little bit, because I'm such a determined person, like a type A personality, you know, when I was first, you know, getting in shape, I was like, got to grind hard. And then my coach had to say, you need to chill out a little bit because
Oh, wow.
you don't want to hurt yourself. You got to make sure there's a balance between safety
Absolutely.
and staying in good shape. So who wants to start first with that?
Well, I think your body tells you, you know, sort of when to ease up a little bit. And so that's for me. I try to keep in check with how I'm doing. And I think that's made a big difference. I think diet also is important
Yes,
here,
history.
you know, really big time. And to be ready, you know, to chill when you feel that you need to. So I think that's all part of it too.
Okay. Brad, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would encourage folks, you know, especially those that have been sedentary for a while, have not been working out. Consult with your physician first. You know, find out what's going on there, because we need that information. We sit down with you for what we call a number one appointment or an orientation. Find out, okay, are there any heart issues? Are there any, you know, what is it you want to achieve? You know, is it weight loss? Is it endurance? Is it improve your strength? Is it improve your flexibility? But you have to do this very carefully, very cautiously, very slowly. And that's what our trained staff, all have personal training certifications, can do. But we really benefit from a physician clearance form where they'll tell us a little bit about the health history, and the resident will fill out their own health history form that gives us that information that says, okay, we can do this, but maybe we need to steer away from that. You know, but we do have to go at it carefully, cautiously, and as Jim said, your body will tell you to some extent. We're always very aware of that with residents. You know, are they overdoing? You know, when they're on a cardio machine, you know, a rule of thumb, for instance, is you want to be able to talk while you're working out. If you're really laboring and breathing very, very, very hard, you're probably overdoing. But you have to monitor this and have to be aware of areas where you might be pushing too hard, too much weight. You know, when we were younger, it was trying to do big, you know, bench press and squats and all that. Well, as we've learned as we get older, those maxes can kill your joints. And a lot of my friends that used to do a lot of this, their joints are now, their shoulders are shot, you know, their backs are shot because they overdid. So as we get older, we got to be aware of that. Kind of that, you know, proper form, the amount of weight, the amount of time on cardio equipment, all of that. What is the heart rate? You know, all of those things play into, you know, blood pressure issues. But go carefully and cautiously, but have a trained professional, whether it's physical therapy, you know, oftentimes they'll be there first for maybe as a result of an injury or surgery or something, and then we'll get them after they've completed their therapy. But yeah, going carefully, slowly, but under the guidance of folks that know what they're doing. Get them started safely, carefully.
Now, you mentioned something earlier. You talked about flexibility, mobility, endurance, strength, those kind of specific areas to focus on in exercise. Can you kind of give me what's your opinion on what's most important as like as a man gets older? What's most important to stay focused on?
I'm going to say, and I think most would agree, cardiovascular.
Okay.
It's, you know, strength training is important, you know, to help with bone density, muscles, et cetera, but endurance, cardiovascular, keeping the blood flow, critical. I mean, to staying healthy. And also that's brain health as well.
Okay.
You're pumping blood into the brain, which is important as well. But I'd say cardio. And when I say cardio, a lot of people, what is he talking about? That could be riding a bicycle, that could be rowing, that could be on a treadmill, that could be on what we call an elliptical or a cross trainer. But that's where you're elevating that heart rate and sustaining it for some it might be 5 minutes on a new step machine. Some it might be 10 minutes, 20. Ideally, we're trying to get people to at least maybe the 20-minute mark if they can. But the beauty of a lot of the cardio equipment in the fitness centers, the new step, for instance, it's not weight bearing. You're not, you know, so if you have issues with your back or your knees, and you can go to a level 1, you know, where the resistance is a lot easier. But there's a lot of different, you know, options. But I'd say cardio first.
Okay.
Then stretch, flexibility, strength. Those are three major components. But cardio first. Whether that's water walking, swimming, long walks around campus, whatever. It could be any number of ways to accomplish that. But I think cardio is the most important.
What would you say, Jim, is most important to you?
Yeah, I would say cardio would be, because as you get older, your heart's not the young organ muscle that it was. It's a muscle, but you've really got to keep working at it. And I think that's probably the most important for me, is to keep that in mind.
Yeah, me personally, I'm trying to improve in my cardio. You know, with boxing and kickboxing, there's a lot of movement. There's cardio involved with that.
Wow.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, when I do my sprints and stuff, I feel like I'm carrying 1,000 pounds. Right? And I can last for 2 minutes, and after 2 minutes, I'm already drenching in sweat. So we're improving. But I kind of want to steer things in a different direction, because a part of being healthy is, of course, being physically fit. But then, Jim, you mentioned it, actually, is our diet.
Yeah.
Most people think, when I'm trying to change my lifestyle, I need to, do the gym all the time. I need to be in the gym an hour and a half, 2 hours, and that's all I need to focus on is just do that. But actually, it's really your food intake. Yeah. I found a quote that we're going to show that totally describes it. And Brad, I'm going to ask you to read it because I did not bring on my glasses, so I cannot read it.
Happy to. Every living cell in your body is made from the food you eat. If you consistently eat junk food, then you'll have a junk body.
So we say on the picture, you see the person to the left is eating something healthy. And so it shows that your body functions properly like a factory. And the one on the right is eating McDonald's fries. Even though they taste so good, it's not the best for your body to have all the time, because it breaks down your body, and instead of keeping your body flowing, it spends more time trying to fix the problem. So I thought that was a really cool picture that kind of demonstrates the importance of diet. So Jim, can you kind of talk about your kind of diet intake and kind of what you do for that?
Well, I make sure of breakfast every day, and that's usually bran flakes, strawberries, blueberries. I do that, and cantaloupe. I do that every morning, just about. For lunch, I try to take it easy. I make sure I eat an apple once a day, and then at dinner time, I'm just careful about it. I don't fill the plate up because I don't need to. You don't feel like you want to, because I think how your body is doing, and if you're working out and so on, you don't need it.
What about you, Brad? What kind of diet intake do you stay to try to maintain a healthy lifestyle?
Well, to start with, and pretty bad, water.
Oh yeah.
Critical.
Yep.
And I don't always practice what I preach. I hate to admit that. I still like my occasional soda, milkshake, whatever. But water is critical. To stay hydrated. It's still the best out there. Gatorade, some of the others might be good, but water's still the best way to go. So hydration. Oh gosh, you hear everybody talk about it. It's vegetables. It's fruit. It's nuts. It's it's not going to be a lot of those sugary foods that do taste so good. Just the other day, sugar and salt, they're things that really enhance the flavor of foods, but those
not
two
to have
things
too much
can be wicked. So it's minimizing the sodium intake and the sugar intake. So it's things that you stay away from, as well as the things that you like. Berries, fantastic. Grains, and there's so many good foods out there, but the temptation is, because there's so many options out there to taste whatever, grab whatever tastes good, or fast food because it's convenient. But the salads, the fruits, they're so important.
You mentioned water, and actually not that long ago, one resident saw me in the hallway. Most of these residents know it's me if you see me carrying my water jug, which is a gallon water jug. I carry that thing everywhere. It goes with me everywhere. I even bring it to church, and it's in the back. So I bring that water jug with me everywhere.
It's excellent.
And one resident said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to drink a gallon. And I highly recommend you don't jump to drinking a gallon. You don't want to feel like you're drowning. You need to progress to that.
That's right.
I first started with a small 32 liter and build up to it. But it is important to get in that water.
Yeah, sure.
When I started my whole food change, that was the hardest part. That was the hardest part for me, is to change the food, because what I do a full-on meal prep for every week. So every week I have to go to the grocery store, and I hate going to the grocery store. I had to go to the grocery store, get me 2 packs of chicken, plan out my meals for every day of the week.
Wow.
I would cut up, the chicken breasts, I would cut up, all that stuff, season it properly, then cook it, then get my vegetables out and the sides like that. So now I kind of have it on a rotation, which is a little bit easier. I don't cook fresh vegetables as much. I got kind of lazy and just warm up some frozen vegetables and just go with that. But it's all fun. And then I had to change my snacks, where instead of having, the donuts and the all the chocolate candy, and everyone here at Channel 6 knows, like, I will down some chocolate chip cookies, and I still have them every now and then, but I had to change it to, maybe having a Cliff bar, like a protein bar, or bringing in some fruit, stuff like that. I want to make sure people in the residence know it's better to think of it not so much as a diet, like you have to stick to, but just you're changing like a lifestyle habit. You're changing your habits where you have it a little bit better. I have another chart that shows kind of a contrast. When people start kind of like a health diet, most of them throughout the week, Monday through most of Friday, stick to the healthy stuff. I'm going to have a salad, I'm going to eat the fruit, and then when it's the weekend and you want to party and have all the fun,
that's right.
That's when you get the pizza. That's when you get the Five Guys and you have the burgers and all that stuff. But if you're trying to change your habits, doing, crashing all that on the weekend, you're going to notice nothing's changing.
That's right.
Nothing's changing. So the one on the right shows the proper way to kind of add in those things. You eat healthy, but every now and then throughout the week, you throw in that little cheat meal. And I want to say meal. Don't make it a full cheat day. Don't have it a cheat day like you see in the other one going on Saturday and Sunday. Make it a cheat meal where, maybe, I've been doing good Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoon I'm going to have that donut, or I'm going to have that little bit of ice cream.
Yes.
And I think it's important to have that little cheat meal every now and then. So, Jim, what's your favorite cheat meal that you like to have?
Well, I make homemade frozen custard ice cream.
Homemade?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't had homemade ice cream since like 5 at my grandma's house.
Yeah, no, I make it for times that we get together. We have a film discussion, a film group that meets once a month, and our Friday night dances and so forth. So I enjoy it. It's fun for me to make it. But I don't eat a lot of it, but I enjoy what I do eat, that sort of thing. So that's basically sort of how I do that.
What about you, Brad? What's your favorite cheat meal to have?
Yeah, I love ice cream.
Oh, really?
Love ice cream. Yeah, I mean, that's my dad was a big ice cream lover, and he kind of, I think, set the tone, so I'm going to blame him. But yeah, I've loved that. And it is hard for me to say no, and then I'm happy to put the toppings on, and the M&Ms and the fudge and the whipped cream. But yeah, that's my cheat food. But as you said, Avan, a lot of it is moderation. I don't think you can just say no to all those things. But yes, moderation is so important.
Yep.
I mean, if you're essentially doing the right things, great, but allow yourself the permission every now and then to have a Snickers bar, or have a slice of pepperoni, whatever. But a steady diet, or the whole weekend or whole day, not good.
Yeah.
But a little bit of those things that you really do like, it's okay, as you point out, to cheat a little bit.
Because I know if you don't give in to those little temptations, I have a story of when I was doing the whole, cutting weight and stuff. One day I was just so tired, and I just really wanted to get outside my chicken and broccoli. I was just like, I desperately need something outside my chicken and broccoli.
Yeah.
And I remember I texted my friend and I said, you know what? After work, we are going to Outback, and we're getting 2 orders of cheese fries, and we ate 2 big plates of cheese fries. So many calories in those suckers, but yes, you don't want to not give yourself those temptations. If you don't, you're going to just give in, and you're going to give in the complete worst way. But I see we're running low on time, and I should have asked this question at the beginning, since this is all about men's health. So for us to focus on men's health, there has to be a difference between men's health and women's health. Can you kind of give what you've seen, what's the difference, or what you know is the difference between men's health and women's health?
Jim? From what you've observed in the years.
From what I've observed, well, they're both certainly important. And I see a lot of the women, I think, swimming, I think, is so important and that's in early in the mornings or whenever. I see that, and there are just a number of women who come into the fitness center itself and have a workout, and it's so nice because there's always staff there. If they feel, well, maybe you're doing that a little bit wrong or you need a little bit of help, they're there for that. And I think the women really appreciate that.
You have anything to add, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, other than some of the physiological differences, et cetera, I think it's finding things, and I'd say this is a general statement, things that you like to do, and I think the women in general, they love the group exercise opportunities. That's traditionally been the case because the social component primarily.
Yep.
Their interaction with their instructor or with others that are taking a class. You have to find things that you like. It might be taking walks. It might be, riding a bike or whatever it might be. But what suits you? And I mean, for women, it might be again the classes, the yoga classes. But more and more, they're doing a lot of the weight training, spinning, all of that, which is fabulous. But that might not be everyone's cup of tea. But I think the women, the social component is pretty critical in order to maintain an interest in it and to continue with it and to maintain that discipline. Very, very important.
Yeah, in my research, when I try to find what's the difference between men and women when it pertains to their health, one of the two things that stood out to me first of all was men don't like to go to the doctor, and I will totally attest to that. I tell my parents ask, if I have my yearly checkup, and sometimes I'll forget, and I'll be like, no, and they'll be like, you need to get your yearly physical, and I just say, I'm just gonna hope I don't just drop one day. So me and my brothers have the same mentality, but when I talk to a lot of guys, we have that same mentality. We don't like to go and find out what's wrong with us, and so I encourage all my fellow men out there to go to the doctor to get checked out. Don't be afraid. You can't fix something that you don't know that's broken.
That's right.
So, and then another thing that it says for men is that we don't pay attention too much to, which we talked about earlier, is our cardio. We don't do a lot of things cardio-wise to make sure our heart is in good shape and our heart stays together. So we're running low on time, but I did find, which is pretty interesting, it gave gotta find my sticky note, it gave top 10 foods that men over 65 should eat.
Oh, good.
So since we were talking about diet, I just don't want to forget. And it says tomatoes, sweet potatoes, oats, avocados, broccoli, eggs, turkey breasts, almonds, salmon, and grass-fed beef. And of course, if you have an allergy like me, I'm allergic to seafood. I can't have seafood, so I replace it with chicken breasts, stuff like that. So those are some food that we can all eat and enjoy. Now, do you two have anything else to add before we go? Our time just kind of flew by, but is there anything else you want to encourage the residents, the men out here, for their health?
Well, I also find it very social coming into the fitness center. Made so many friends, and I find that by the time it's up, I can hardly believe it, but I was having so much fun at the same time working out with people talking, laughing, and everything. That helps me out a lot.
Good. Well, you, Brad.
And I think it's really important with fitness. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. I think, and the fitness center can be intimidating because a lot of this generation did not grow up.
That's right.
Lifting weights and all that sort of thing. But I tell people to bite off very small chunks. A little bit. Try some things. Different types of exercise. Find out what works for you, but it doesn't have to be all or nothing. And is the frequency. I mean, here, Jim, 7 days a week. I mean, who does that? But and for folks that maybe target 3 days a week, but if you don't make it 3 days a week, that's okay. Even if you miss a whole week, you're on vacation. Let it go. Let it go. Don't be too hard on yourself because then you're going to get discouraged. Say, I can't stick with 3 or 4 days a week, and then you just say, the heck with it. No, do a little bit. And do it consistently. Then in time, you might say, hey, I have a little bit more time, a little more energy. I'd like to try some new things. But don't bite off more than you could chew initially. But try things. Don't be afraid to try different types of physical activity. You might be pleasantly surprised at some things, whether it be, dancing or whatever it might be. You might be pleasantly surprised that, hey, I really enjoy this, and I didn't think I would.
Well, thanks for coming on the show. I totally appreciate it. I wish we had more time, but there's always next time.
That's right.